नमस्ते प्रणाम गीता ध्यानम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 8th adhyay of the Akshar Brahma Yoga, and Sri Krishna is telling us about how a devotee, how the yogis, how the aspirants, spiritual aspirants, they can avoid this coming back and going back, the life and death, the birth and death, so many rebirths. Now, Sri Krishna says, if a jiva attains to me, there is no punarjanma for that. There is no again and again, getting into this body and experiencing the pain and sorrows and grief. So, 15th shloka that Sri Krishna has told us, once having attained to me, there is no punarjanma, there is no residing in this Navadvara Puri, there is no residing in this home of miseries and pains and sorrows. And this, after all, this dwelling inside this body is also very temporary. It is not permanent at all. It is ashashvatam. And in the 16th shlok that we read, Sri Krishna again confirms this teaching, saying that even if one attains Brahmaloka, like in our discussion last time, we saw that there are these 14 planes, the 14 realms, that the Jivatman has to go and stay in one of those realms, the lokas, depending on the karma that the Jivatman has done through that body. While Jivatman doesn't do anything, but when Jivatman gets entrapped in the body, gets embodied, all the karma starts. And depending upon what sort of karma that body has done with the Jivatman in it. Now, whether Jivatman is doing or not, that is, immaterial. We know Jivatman doesn't get involved in doing any karma. Jivatman is just a witness, third-party witness. It is the complex of body, mind, and the intellect which does all this karma. All these outgoing tendencies that we have, and depending on the outgoing tendencies, depending on the association of our sense organs with the sense objects, we get into the act of performing the karmas. Now, whether it is a good karma or bad karma, that determines to which plane, to which realm the soul has to wait in that waiting room till the time of complete liberation, till the time of that nirvana, till the time of map upatya. That is what Sri Krishna says. Having attained to me, having attained to the Lord, having attained to that ultimate reality, till then, the souls, the Jivatmans, they have to spend time in one of these lokas. Now, topmost is the Brahma Loka. Brahmaloka is considered to be for the most devout people who have still not liberated, but they have to wait for their turn. So such souls, such Jivatman, they take a residence in the Brahmaloka. Now that again is a temporary, Sri Krishna says. That is not Shashvata, that is also Ashashvata. And Sri Krishna has told us, A Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Punaravartito Arjuna Mamupetya tu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Even if one attains to the Brahmaloka, Brahmaloka is the ultimate. Even from there, one has to come down after completing that waiting period. There is no escape from that. And Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Punaravartino Arjuna. Oh, Arjuna, that fellow, even from Brahmaloka, he has to come down. Mamupetya tu Kaunteya Punarjanma na Vidyate. But having attained to me, having had the ultimate realization, there is no more punarjanma, there is no more getting entrapped in this body, getting entrapped in this, the house of pain and grief and sorrows and miseries and whatnot. So, Sri Krishna says. Now, Sri Krishna further talks, what is that Brahmaloka? It is from our perspective to make us understand what is the time duration that Sri Krishna is talking about. Like our lifespan, normally on an average human being lifespan is considered to be 100 years. Maybe, okay, it is not that everybody reaches 100 years, but that is considered to be the average, so to say, the standard lifespan for Homo sapiens. We may get out maybe at any age. That is, there is no guarantee that every human being will live for 100 years. So now from our perspective, now Sri Krishna is telling us, what is this time frame that the elevated souls, those great souls who attend to Brahmaloka, have to again come back. So what is the time frame these souls they spend in the Brahmaloka? So in this 17th shloka onwards, Sri Krishna is going to, it is a bit complicated for us to not only to understand but even to comprehend the magnanimity of the time frame that Lord is talking about. Just imagine the Creator's standard of time, the time frame that is considered in the Brahmaloka is now being described by Sri Krishna in this 17th shloka. Sahasra-yuga-paryantam ahar brahmaṇo viduḥ rātriṁ yuga-sahasrāntāṁ ho-rātra-vido janāḥ. Sri Krishna is now talking about the day and night of that the Brahma Lok. How is the day and night calculated for the stay of a Jivatma in the Brahmaloka? For how long? Now, in terms of our time frame, it is unimaginable. Sahasra-yuga-paryantam ahar brahmaṇah viduḥ. Brahmana vidu is of what people know about the time frame of the Brahma, of the Brahmaloka. That time frame is sahasra-yuga-paryantam, up to the 1000 yugas. The Mahat Yuga, 1000 yugas is considered to be one day of Brahma. Brahma is the chief of that Brahmaloka. He decides who comes in. He has decided. Now, how long this person, this Jivatman is going to stay here. So, he allows the Jivatman to get into that Brahmaloka, and at the end of that time frame, that Brahma, the superior most Purusha, which has again come down from that Parama Divya Purusha. Now the Brahma per se is not the Brahman, the Satchidananda, the Akshaya Brahman. No. This Brahman here of the Brahmaloka is a designated position. Maybe Prime Minister, President, whatever. He is the chief of that. So, 1,000 years, the 1,000 yugas is one day of that Brahma. It lasts 1,000 yugas, one day. And the night of Brahma also lasts for 1,000 yugas. Now this is basically too complicated for us to comprehend, for us to imagine what is this 1,000 yugas. Now, if we look at the yuga as such, there are 4 yugas. We all know, I mean, we have heard about it, that Kali Yuga, then Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga. From Satya Yuga, this cycle has started actually. Satya Yuga, that lasted for 17.28 lakh years of our time frame. Satya Yuga lasted for that duration. Then for 12.96 lakh years lasted the Treta Yuga. After Treta Yuga came the Dwapar Yuga. And after Dwapar Yuga, now what we are into is the Kali Yuga. So these 4 yugas, see these 4 yugas together, they are called as Mahayuga. That is the 1,000 yugas. Now, in our time frame, this Mahayuga would be 43.2 billion years, 4.32 billion years, 43.2 lakh years of our time frame. Imagine. So that 43.2 lakh years is one day in the Brahmaloka. Mind-boggling, isn't it? And similar is the case with the night. 4.32 billion years of our time frame is the night of Brahma. One who understands this, they are the knowers of what actually day and night is in the Brahma, in the Brahmaloka. Te ho-rātra-vido janāḥ. Those people, they really know the significance of this time frame. Those who have understood this concept of the time cycle in the Brahmaloka, which is comprised of 1,000 Mahayuga of the one Mahayuga, 1,000 years, 1,000 yugas of day and 1,000 yugas of night. So, in all put together, one complete cycle of that Brahma is 8.64 billion years. 4.32 billion years is the day, 4.32 billion years is the night. And Sri Krishna says, even though a soul goes to that plane, at the end of 8.64 billion years, spending 4.32 billion years of day and 4.32 billion years of night, at the end of 8.64 billion years, the fellow has to again get back into action. There is no escape. There is no shortcut for that. So see the nature of this creation of the Lord. And Sri Krishna says, you can avoid it. You can just bypass it if you directly come to me. You don't have to get into all these complications, in all these calculations of how many billion years and how many trillion years. Nothing doing. Just at the last moment, think about me. At the last moment, just bring your mind to the level of anahata, level of heart. Start chanting Om. Let that repetition of Om be continuously there, remembering me. And bring your prana, bring the life force at the Ajna Chakra. between the eyebrows, and then let the soul depart the body, escape this entanglement, escape this prison of 9 gates. Instead of the ordinary gates, let that soul escape through the sahasrara and come directly join with me. There is no punarjanma. This time frame, when we start thinking about, I mean, it is absolutely wondrous. That what Sri Krishna is talking about, the day of Brahma and the night of Brahma, and how the time cycle lasts in that Brahmaloka. The part that time plays in the lives of beings is a factor worth studying. Yes, we consider our time frame to be so very, significant in terms of the Lord's creation, Lord's day and night. It is insignificant. Our one lifespan is so insignificant for that matter. There are creatures within our ken that complete their career and fulfill themselves in the course of a few days or weeks. You see, there are insects who take birth at night. They grow, they procreate, lay eggs, and by the time it is day, they are gone. That is their life cycle. There are beings, those single cellular, they may be, their lifespan may be a few hours or maybe a few minutes. They just come, sport their play, and they vanish. Now, if we are to explain this time theory to that tiny insect whose life is just maybe few hours, and we tell him, hey boss, we live for 100 years, so to say, that person will start thinking, oh my God, what is that 100 years? I'm here just for a few minutes. And these people are talking about 100 years. Amazing. From that insect's perspective, from that tiny creature's perspective, 100 years of human being is magnificent. So, from our perspective as human beings, that 8.64 billion years of Brahma is something mind-boggling, isn't it? The question of want of time does not arise in the case of such tiny insects, such tiny creatures, and in the time scale of Brahma, on Brahma's time scale, our time frame, our time scale, it does not arise at all. What is this 100 years compared to 8.64 billion or whatever billion years? Our time span is negligible for that matter. Just imagine how many births a person can live and take and die in that 8.64 billion years, the day and night of Brahma. Brahma, the creator, ultimately is also a Jivatman. Brahman is not the Paramadivya Brahman that is talked about by Sri Krishna, from whom the Prakriti is manifested. It is not that Brahman. This Brahma of Brahmalok is a designated position, as we have talked about. So the Brahma is the creator is also Jivatman, having cosmic function to fulfill and wending his way towards Mukti. Even that Jiv, that boss of the Brahmaloka, has to also undergo this process. From his point of view, it is 8.64 billion years of our time scale. But for him, it is a day and night. And at the end of night, what happens? It is all dissolution. That Purusha who attains Prakriti Laya, or the universal power and efficiency, is in a previous kalpa or a cycle. This one day and night is one kalpa, one cycle. At the end of night, there is dissolution. And at the start of day, there is again creation. And With that creation, after 8.64 billion years, again a new Prakriti comes into being, gets manifested, gets projected from that Paramadivya Purusha. So, countless eons of hours put together form a day of Brahma, and a similar expanse of time is night. We have calculated in terms of number of years, 8.64 billion, 4.32 and 4.32. That way, Brahma has his day and night, his own months and years, and his own full span of lifetime, at the end of which at the day it expands into infinity. Still, the Brahma, the creator, also has his wheel of birth and death, and emancipation too from that wheel. He can also escape, provided that person in that Jivatman in that position of Brahma attains the ultimate Lord. He gets into karma mukti after his lifespan. After that span of day and night, even this Jivatman, who is in the position as Brahma, also gets the krama mukti of this day and night. He can be saved from that, vacating his place for the succeeding Brahma. And once that Brahma is out of Brahma Loka, another person takes over for another 8.64 billion years. Those of us who understand this cosmic design understand what is meant by the wheel of time, the wheel of birth and death, and emancipation from this relativity. One has to understand this crucial time scale. So why get into that botheration of spending so many years and getting birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, getting into that cycle of punarjanma? So Sri Krishna says, just come to me directly, bypass all this. This intellectual grasp is an aid for our seeking mukti from the wheel of birth and death. And when we start thinking about these huge number of years we have to get embroiled in coming and going, coming and going, coming and going, then the learned people, then the yogis, then the enlightened souls, they attempt at getting liberated rather than wasting their time in so many cycles, in so many creations, in so many destructions. And that is the simple message, that is the simple advice of Sri Krishna to Arjuna and to all of us, that don't get entangled in this day and night of Brahma, because even that has an end. So better get liberated, get the nirvana, come to me directly. That was and this teaching again continues in the next shloka also, that we will be reading the next the 18th shloka of this Akshara Brahma Yoga. Till then, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ram Krishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.